Chapter 1. I was alone with many. The moon hung low in the sky, casting silver light across a quiet, old graveyard. Tombstones stood tall and still, their shadows long and eerie. A cold wind swept through the trees, and the distant hoot of an owl echoed through the night. In the middle of this lonely place stood a man named Elias. Elias had come here seeking comfort. His heart was heavy with grief, and he wandered among the graves, lost in memories of a time when life had been full of happiness. But now that happiness was gone, and he was left alone in his sorrow. He stopped at one grave, a familiar one. His fingers traced the name carved into the stone, Sarah. His beloved wife, who had passed away years ago. Tears welled in his eyes as he knelt beside her grave, whispering her name. He spoke softly, his words carried away by the wind. He poured out his sadness, hoping that somehow she could hear him. Suddenly, a strange feeling crept over him. The air felt thick, almost heavy. He looked up, startled. In the dim light, he saw them figures standing among the graves. They were the dead. Ghostly figures moved silently through the graveyard. Their faces were sad, their eyes full of longing. They floated among the tombstones, their forms shimmering in the moonlight. Elias felt a shiver run down his spine. Fear gripped him, yet he couldn't look away. Something about them drew him in. One of the figures came closer, and Elias reached out, his hand passing through the ghostly shape. He asked, trembling, "Who are you?" The figure turned, its eyes filled with sadness. "We are the forgotten," it said, its voice soft and echoing. "We are those who have been left behind, forgotten by the living." Elias felt a deep connection to them. He understood their loneliness, their pain. He had felt abandoned by the world, just like them. The ghosts weren't so different from him. He was not as alone as he had thought. As the night went on, Elias sat with the dead, listening to their stories, sharing his own. He felt their sorrow, but also a strange sense of peace. In their company, he found comfort. The graveyard, once a place of fear, now felt like a place of understanding. When the sky began to lighten with the first hints of dawn, the ghosts slowly faded away, disappearing into the mist. Elias was alone once more, but this time, something had changed. He knew now that he wasn't truly alone.